Señoras y señores, finalmente va a ocurrir. Vamos a pasarnos el último capítulo de Poppy Playtime, ¿vale? Empezamos en 2021, bueno, yo y todo el mundo que empezó a jugarlo, vaya. En 2021 con esto, estamos en 2026, tengo una canilla en la barba y tengo otra aquí en el flequillo, lo que pasa que no se ve. Vamos a terminar lo que empezamos, pero vamos a vernos antes un vídeo resumen de la historia que tengo por aquí, ¿vale? Está en inglés, pero voy a poner los subtítulos en español aquí arriba, relajarse, ¿vale? Vamos a ver un resumen de toda la historia, dura 9 minutitos, nos enteramos, nos ponemos al día. Yo sé que esto iba de una fábrica que un tío abrió en la Primera Guerra Mundial o en la Segunda, no me acuerdo ya, que los muñecos al final se revelaban y no sé, pero no me acuerdo, ¿vale? Entonces, hay un chabón que lo resume en 11 minutos y habla en español, ¿vale? ¿Y cuál es el enlace? ¿Lo tienes? Sin parar, no vamos a parar, no vamos a parar el vídeo, no vamos a parar el vídeo, no vamos a parar el vídeo. He encontrado un vídeo en latino de la historia resumida de Poppy del capítulo 1 al 4 en 17 minutos. Muy largo, fuera coña, 17 minutos que paso. O sea, la barrera entre 10 y 17, esos 7 minutos de más, me cortan el rollo muchísimo. No quiero 17 minutos. O sea, quiero máximo, es que mira, 9 ya me toca la polla. 9 ya me toca la polla. Y no es por generación TikTok, es que no me importa tanto, ¿sabes? Si fuese una cosa que yo digo, Dios, qué pasión tengo por esta trama, entonces me trago un vídeo de 1 hora, me la pela. Pero es que no tengo ganas de verme un vídeo de 20 minutos de Chuchiwuki y Wikipiki. ¿Sabes lo que te digo? Yo qué sé, no es la realidad. Callarse, pongo un subtítulo en español. No, en inglés no. Traducir automáticamente. ¿Al Aymara o qué? ¿El Aymara qué coño es? Es al español. ¿Dónde sale? Vale, esto arriba, para que lo veáis. ¿Ok? Arriba español, abajo inglés. For those who speak English down, speak Spanish up. ¿Ok? Venga. Silencio, concentración y vamos a enterarnos bien de la historia para el capítulo 5 disfrutarlo al máximo, ¿vale? Para decir, no, ve, mira, este es el Chucky Woogie que una vez le dijo al otro no sé qué. Y me entero perfecto y disfruto mucho, ¿vale?
This is the entire timeline of Poppy Playtime, going all the way from the birth of Elliot Ludwig to where we are today in the end of chapter 4. So let's start all the way back before the year 1930 with Elliot's birth. We don't know the exact...
Para, me estoy concentrando porque estoy pensando en el chat. Voy a darle un pelín para atrás, ¿vale? Aquí, vale, 1930. Aquí se abrió la fábrica, vale.
1930 with Elliot's birth. We don't know the exact year that he was born, but because infants don't start in corporations, that means that he had to have been born sometime before 1930, probably reaching the age of at least 25 or 30 before starting his company. And in the year 1930 was when Playtime Co. was founded, with Elliot Ludwig being the owner. But Elliot wasn't just any business owner. He had the goal of ensuring each child smile with his creations and to make the world a better place for children. Later in 1950, Playtime Co. eventually created the Poppy doll, the world's most incredible doll that could really speak to children.
You are about to see the most incredible doll ever invented. Her name is Poppy.
Muy fácil hasta ahora, lo había enterado, ¿no? 1930 se funda una compañía que se llama Playtime Co. La crea un tal Elliot, ¿vale? En 1950 crea la muñeca Poppy que habla.
And she is the first truly intelligent doll in the world.
Poppy Playtime!
Amapola Recreo.
She's as lovable as a real girl, and she talks like one too.
Hi, my name is Poppy. I love you. Can you help me polish my shoes?
Each doll used a ring and string system with a voice box inside of the doll, making the doll appear to be a real girl to children. Or they could brush her hair.
Sí, típica niña que tiene una cuerda y tú le tiras a la niña, habla, sí. La típica niña real, sí.
Polish her shoes, have tea parties, and do pretty much everything with their very own Poppy Playtime doll. But Poppy Playtime wasn't just another one of their toys, but their biggest toy yet, as it was the very first toy that put them on the radar and made them a household name in America, allowing them to sell many more toys in the future. And after her, they went on to make more toys like Bron and Boxy Boo, but none of the toys they ever made can even compare to the success.
Y el azul también es un juguete suyo, o sea, crearon Poppy, ¿no? Poppy fue como la muñeca más popular. Y siguieron haciendo a Brocky y al otro que han dicho, a Modric, no me acuerdo. Pero el azul también es un muñeco.
That Huggy Wuggy brought Playtime Co., as he was their most
que no me he enterado.
toys like Brawn and Boxy Boo, but none of the toys they ever made can even compare to the success that Huggy Wuggy brought Playtime Co., as he was their most successful toy, making them so much money to the point where they even made a knockoff called Kissy Missy. Huggy Wuggy was made in 1984 and Kissy was
Pero el Huggy Wuggy, o sea, Poppy se creó en 1950 y el Huggy Wuggy, que es el azul, se creó en el 84 y luego Kissy Missy, es que los putos nombres, que es la rosa, también es más
made
tarde.
in 1985,
Vale.
just about 10 years before the Hour of Joy, and Playtime Co. was at its absolute peak. However, the company would soon start to take a dark turn. One man was able to take the company from going into financial ruin back into profit, and that man's name was none other than Dr. Harley Sawyer, who was very close to Elliot, as when he was a child, he joined Elliot's Young Geniuses program, where Elliot and many different smart kids would all work on science experiments, and most likely because of this, he was scouted by a Playtime Co. employee named Lockhart, who would then recommend Sawyer
Ya me perdí, yo creo.
to Leith Pierre, and Leith invited him to the factory for an interview on
¿Quién es
January.
Liz? ¿Quién es Liz? Hostia, has tirado aquí 4 nombres por la cara, tío. Hostia.
As a child, he joined Elliot's Young Geniuses program, where Elliot and many different smart kids would all work on science experiments, and most likely because of this, he was scouted by a Playtime Co. employee named Lockhart, who would then recommend Sawyer to Leith Pierre, and Leith invited him to the factory for an interview on January 15th, 1990, and after this was when they started to work on the Bigger Bodies initiative, which Harley Sawyer came up with.
Now we're understaffed. Safety protocols are being abandoned. Workplace incidents are common. I'm here now with a solution. The Bigger Bodies Initiative. We can increase our workforce and simultaneously decrease the number of lawsuits and people on our payroll if the people we have working aren't
Claro, y ahí crearon las
They most
manos esa,
likely
¿no?
made the prototype first and then continued on with experiments that were 100%
No,
biological,
alimentado.
requiring organs and food to live, rather than other fuel sources like the prototype. And sometime in 1990, they were able to create their very first success, Boxy Boo. Immediately after, they go on to create other experiments like Pianosaurus, Yarnaby, and Huggy Wuggy.
Penosauro, que, hostia, qué locura. Yarnabe, Huggy Wuggy. Y yo, qué pecha. Vamos a ver. Tú creas la empresa, se vaya al carajo y llega uno y dice, te la salvo. Y ese tío estaba en un programa de niños genio como el otro que creó la empresa. Y de repente lo llaman por una entrevista y dice, espérate, vamos a hacer armas biológicas. ¿No?
Huggy, who was described as the ideal experiment. But after Huggy, they started making some advancements with their experiments, eventually proposing experiment 1188, otherwise known as Catnap, and he was made to have the
Espera, eso está mal traducido. Siesta de gato. Espérate, este vídeo es un poco mierda.
1188, otherwise known as Catnap.
Catnap, pero ese no es streamer.
And he was made
Catnap.
to have the immunity to and the ability to dispense the red smoke, which was eventually used in Playcare in order to keep the orphans asleep and possibly to even take them without anybody noticing. And the experiments kept getting more and more advanced as they continued with the Bigger Bodies initiative, like with the creation of Mommy Longlegs, who was created in order to test out Playtime Co.'s elastic plastic, and she was eventually used in the game
Elastic Plastic. No hace gracia los nombres, como si fuese todo de broma.
station, where she would lead the kids to each game. But although Huggy was the ideal experiment in June of 1992, just 2 years after he was created, he managed to escape through an open delivery bay door and into the wilderness, where he would then go on to
Hostia,
kill
qué
at
mal
least
rollo, ¿no?
5 people, but most likely 11, as 6 of them were declared missing. During the hunt, one of the employees caught Huggy attacking him on camera, where he wasn't able to notice him
¿Esto sale en los juegos?
until the very last second. And considering Huggy's like 18 feet tall, his ability to be unnoticed, especially in a terrain that he's unfamiliar with, means that Huggy is insanely intelligent. Then in 1993, we see the events of Doey, where a child named Jack Ayers was invited to come to Playtime Co.'s factory for some kind of tour of their Doey dough. But while he was on his own next next to a giant vat of dough. He either climbed up over the railing or someone pushed him to where he fell into the dough, supposedly killing him. But Playtime Co. sent a very mysterious letter to Jack's parents saying that they could revive their son. When they came back to the factory, a scientist introduces them to Doughy, and at first they were shocked, and his dad didn't even want to talk to him. But because his mom wanted to make things right and felt guilty about what happened, they go into the room with Doughy. But the scientist shut and locked the door behind them. And because Doughy was still adjusting to his new body, he became extremely violent and killed his parents.
Susan, get away from me!
Jack? Mommy won't lie to you, Jackie. Mommy won't hurt you.
Jacobo.
I'd never hurt you.
Eso pasó aquí en Piloña.
Hey! Hey! Open this door! Open the door! Please!
But even though Sawyer and the other scientists were creating these scientific miracles, and especially with Mommy Longlegs and Doughy being able to literally
Y yo, que, tío, no puedes crear un experimento y llamarlo mamá patas largas, tío. En plan, me pierdo como el foco, ¿sabes lo que te digo? O sea, como el mal rollo de que puedo sentir gracias a la historia lo pierdo. Es que te llamas mamá patas largas.
shapeshift, he still wasn't immune to the
Señores, quedan 3 minutos para enterarnos de todo. 2 de hecho.
sin of pride. He became so arrogant and so detached from humanity that he would kill many orphans and even adults just because of his own experimentation or even mistakes that he would make, which led to the higher-ups in Playtime Co. turning him into Experiment 1354, where he had his organs taken and put into a giant metal container where his body would be stuck there, but his mind would be able to go all over the factory, and he was forced to help the scientists with whatever questions they might have. And although Harley was very dangerous, his knowledge was too valuable to just kill him.
You need my knowledge, my intellect. Why do you think you're sitting in there right now and not in Boxy's
¿Os estáis enterando?
stomach? Let me tell you how this
Me acabo de dar cuenta de que arriba está en español. Qué locura.
is gonna go, Sawyer.
O sea, estáis peor que yo, ¿eh?
Now on, to give the lab boys answers when they need them and carry out procedures.
Me la... Me ahogo con mi propia saliva. Me la pela bárbaro, pone uno.
When and how we tell you to. That's it.
But then in 1995, everything went downhill for Playtime Co. in the span of a single hour, where the prototype managed to convince many of the other toys to kill everybody in sight, all at 11 a.m. on August 8th, 1995, where almost all of the employees
Encima con una hora concreta. Mátalo, pero a las 11 de la mañana.
were killed and dragged down to the basements, where they would then be eaten in order for the toys to live, as they quickly ran out of food. And the factory would continue to be completely empty, with the toys being the only ones still alive for about 10 whole years. Where Mommy Longlegs got even crazier, the prototype killed all who defied him, and the good toys eventually managed to find Safe Haven, which was originally built as a bunker for the employees to hide in the event of a catastrophe. But in 2005, we receive a strange letter and VHS tape which told us to find the flower. And from there, we see the events of chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4 all unravel. But what do you guys think? Let me know down.
¿Qué opino de qué? Hostia, qué locura. Espérate un momento. Lee lo último que te he dicho, que es resumen del resumen del resumen. Vale, ponlo otra vez. Hostia, qué locura. Mierdón de vídeo, yo creo, O sea, el problema no es la historia, el problema es el vídeo, ¿no? El vídeo es... Se salta como muchas cosas. A ver, señores, atentos, ¿vale? Opina. Hoogie Woogie es un experimento como Poppy. Parece una letra de una canción de los dioses, tú. Hoogie Woogie es un... ¡Qué vasto lo payo que es! Hoogie Woogie, el azul, es un experimento de Poppy. Es un experimento como Poppy. Al igual que Mami Longlegs, mamá piernas largas. Y Catnap, hiperfan del prototipo. Y como muchos de ahí. ¿Qué? ¿Pero qué pasa aquí? Sobre todo el prototipo. Un experimento que no se sabe nada de su identidad, pero tiene aterrorizados a todos los demás experimentos. Uno de los doctores de la compañía que hacía los experimentos lo convirtieron en The Doctor, que es el tío del ojo de la tele. Sigo diciendo de forma resumen, pero un momento, Wipelo, ¿para ti esto ha sido un resumen? Esto es loquísimo. ¿Tú te crees que yo me leo esto y me entero de lo que me está hablando? ¿Sabes lo que te digo? Me he quedado peor que antes. Lo que me dejan los caracteres de Twitch. No te rayas, vamos a ver. Os explico rápidamente la historia de Poppy Playtime. Mientras que estaba en su colegio de chicos. Estudiaban los dos en los boliches, ¿vale? Y de repente dice, yo te salvo la compañía. Pero dice, un momento, ¿y si de estos muñecos vamos al siguiente nivel y creamos como prototipos de muñeco tobasto? Se les va la olla y los prototipos empiezan a matar gente. Esa es la historia, ¿verdad? Ya está. ¿Y tú quién eres? Claro, ¿y tú quién eres? ¿Tú quién eres? Un ex trabajador, ¿no? Yo me llamo Ricardo, cállate. O sea, yo soy un trabajador de Playtime Co. y va para allá para salvar el mundo, ¿no? Lo típico, ¿ok? El lore de Poppy Playtime básicamente va de que tú vuelves a una fábrica de juguetes abandonada porque todo el mundo desapareció de la nada. Te das cuenta de que los juguetes están vivos, empezando por Huggy Wuggy que te quiere matar. Luego aparece Mommy Long Legs que te pone a jugar como en juegos infantiles pero en plan psicópata. Más adelante la cosa se pone heavy con Catnap y empiezas a entender que en realidad los juguetes eran personas convertidas en experimentos. Vale, sí, pues ya está, perfecto. Gracias, un aplauso. Señores, Poppy Playtime, capítulo 5.